Hey sis, hey, this is your girl Kristen Ogundere checking back in with you for another episode of Her Steps Are Ordered podcast. Sis, welcome, sis, welcome, sis, welcome. I want to thank you to all the women who have been holding it down and checking out Her Steps Are Ordered podcast, who have been taking the time out to tune in, to watch, to listen. Sis, I just want to say thank you, thank you, thank you. I'm going to jump right into today's topic, and I'm not going to hold you, sis. I'm not going to hold you because this has been a long awaited time. I've been thinking about posting this or talking about this particular topic for a while now. And I think this is going to be really important for the single ladies. Yes, I said for the single ladies, for my single sisters. Sis, you are not alone. As a woman who has been out of the dating game for a minute, sis, I am a woman who has been married for a little while, but not that much of a long time compared to, different generations of people. But I've been married for 11 years now. And the thing I observed in my dating era, sis, when I was dating and when I was, out here in the dating scene, getting to know different guys and, courting and just, figuring out friendship first and deciding marriage. One thing I learned is the importance of marrying a man with vision. I'm going to say that again. As a woman of God, it's important to remember to marry a man with vision, sis. Not just any vision, but I'm talking about a man with vision, purpose, drive, and a vision to follow Christ. Not just any vision, not just a vision for worldly or earthly measure, but I'm talking about a godly vision. A man that's being led by God himself can lead you well. And it's important. It's important as a woman of God to remember these things, because as you are dating, as you are stepping out, as you are courting, as you are seeking to find a husband, as you are seeking a husband, those of you who have been seeking a husband for a while now, for a minute, sis, I'm here to encourage you. There are men that are out there with vision. Not just any vision, but they're carrying purpose. And it's going to take a special type of woman like you, a woman of God that has fruit already, that has a calling and a purpose on her life to help that man that is your husband carry and birth the vision that God has given him as he is leading you. It's important. We can't just be led as a woman of God by any type of man in this world. We must be led by a man with vision and purpose, but for the vision and purpose of God, to glorify God for the kingdom assignment that he has. It's important. Marriage is God's design, but it's so divine as you think about it. As I think about the years of my marriage and how long I've been married to my husband, I remember when him and I were just courting. And we sat down and we were talking, like we were just courting. We were beginning to understand who each other was. We were, asking each other about our backgrounds, our family lineage, our bloodline, where we came from, who we are. And I never asked him about his vision. But one thing I can say about this man is that he already started talking about his vision before I even asked him. So therefore, that was a flag right there. Not a red flag, sis. Not a red flag, sis, but that was a green flag to let me know that this man has a vision. This man has purpose. This man has an assignment on his life. This man he knows where he's going. He has a great head on his shoulders. So that's an indication of a great man. And he knew where he wanted in his life. And he wasn't playing games. He was serious. He was for real, for real. He was for real about his vision. He was for real about his purpose. He was for real about his life and how he wanted things to be. And that's a man that's after God's own heart. That's a man that has his steps ordered by God. That's a man that's being led by God to know where he's going. You see, a man with no vision doesn't know where he's going. Therefore, he can't lead you. So I'm being honest here. A man with no vision doesn't know where he's going, so he can't lead you. If he's not being led by anything like by God first and foremost, then how can he lead you? And that was my question. I said, Lord, as I was seeking, I wasn't even thinking about marriage at the time. I wasn't even thinking about dating. I was at a point in my life when I met my husband. I was like, man, I was about to throw in the towel with dating, real talk. Even back then, the dating pool was crappy for real. And I was praying in my prayer time with God in my younger years, even before I had a full relationship with God. And I said, Lord, I desire to be in a relationship, but I desire marriage in a way where I don't want to waste my time anymore. I don't want to start courting with anybody. I don't want to start talking to anybody. I don't want to start getting to know anybody, Lord, if this is not my husband. So when he sent my husband, I knew for sure that this man was one that was chosen by God. Now, the choice is ours ultimately, whether we want to enter into something, a courtship, to marriage, to start something, to start building upon something and make things work in life. And at the time, I had a choice to make. And, the Satan was fighting me at this point in time. He was fighting me big time. He was trying to distract me with other options, other people that had no vision, had no purpose, had no drive, had no leadership from God, knew nothing about God, didn't have a foundation on Christ, didn't come from a family background of Christ. Not necessarily every man has to come from a background, with a foundation of God. It would be lovely to have it that way, but we're living in a century and a time where all men don't come from 2-parent households. All men aren't introduced to Christ in their household. Sometimes, they find a mate and they court, they get married, and then they build that foundation on God from there. It's not always going to be perfect and put together, And that's one thing you have to remember as a single woman, is that when you're looking at the man from the outward appearance, sometimes, and the funny thing is, I've noticed about, being married over these 11 years and courting with my husband, dating my husband, building a friendship with him and getting to know who he was. Ideally, in my eyes, when you have a certain list and a certain particular things that you want on your list, because we know, sis, we all got a list. You're like, man, this ain't everything that I was asking for. But the Lord, you understand that the Lord will give you exactly what you need. Over the course of the years, I've noticed that, and I've realized that my husband is truly my soulmate. He's truly my soulmate. He's truly a man after God's own heart. He's truly a man with vision. He's truly a man with purpose. He's truly a man with drive. And just it's different, because a man with vision has a vision spiritually as well, not just naturally, but a man with vision has a spiritual vision connected to God. Therefore, he's able to see clearly. He's able to have more clarity. These are some things that you must take into play as a woman, as a single woman of God. If you're out there dating, sis, and have you had enough? You're tired of these, busters. You're tired of these guys that claim to be men of God, or you're tired of these men that have no vision, and they're walking around saying, hey, I want to date you, I want to court you, I want to marry you, but yet they have no vision. And you have to think about it that way, because a marriage is a covenant, sis. And when you enter a covenant, that thing is legally binding. That's a legally binding contract unto God. So you need to think about this thing. I'm talking about through and through. You need to examine some of the guys that you're courting with. You need to examine this. It's serious. Marriage is a serious thing. We're living in a society where anybody would just get married at the drop of a dime, but is it going to last? Is it built on a solid foundation? Does this man have vision? Do you have the capacity to help him carry the vision? Do you have the capacity to add to the vision that he has, to support the vision that he has, to bring fruit to the marriage as well? To the vision that he has, to sustain this man of God, to hold him up, to undergird him, to be by his side, to pour into him, to pray for him, to speak life into him, even when his purpose and his vision doesn't fully come to fruition yet, when he's in the process of building. Support. I say support. Do you have the capacity to support? I say that because a lot of times, this day and age, us as young women, we want to hop into a marriage that's already made. We want to hop into a marriage where a man is already established. A man already has these things. A man already has, the home to build with children, the capacity, the financial income, to be the increase to bring to the table. But at the same time, sis, what are we bringing to the table? Are we bringing support? Are we bringing the capacity in which to carry this man, to pour into him, to speak life into his vision, to add to his his vision, to multiply his vision, not just with children, but with what we're bringing to the table, with the backing we have, with the foundation that we have. Do we have a purpose? Because sometimes we're expecting so much from these men that we're like, that what are we bringing to the table? What are we bringing to the table? Are we bringing support? Are we bringing vision? Are we bringing purpose? Are we carrying something? Do we have vision spiritually with God? Or do we have a connection with God? Do we have a foundation built on God and his truth? Do we know how to support this man that has this vision? Because it takes, like I said in the beginning, it takes a certain type of woman to support a man with vision. So if you're single and you're looking for a man with vision, sis, what's your vision? What you bringing to the table? What are you doing to support that man? Or do you have the capacity in which to carry and support this man and be able to be a helpmeet to him that he needs as he's building this thing? Are you able to help him build? Do you know how to build a strong foundation with him? Do you understand the vision that he has? Do you understand sometimes it's not always going to be pretty, that you're going to have to build this thing with him, that you're going to have to go through some things, that you're going to have to deal with certain circumstances, that everything isn't going to be pretty and polished and put together from the beginning. You're not going to always walk into something. You may be courting with a man right now that has vision, that has purpose, but it's still being birthed. And you're looking at it from the outside looking in, not from a spiritual standpoint, but from a natural standpoint. You're like, how can this man support me? How can this man support a family? How can this man support, the things I would like to do, the things, the lifestyle I would like to have? But sometimes it's not so much about that, but it's about what can you bring to this vision to make it come to pass, the vision that God has given this specific man. So I just want to encourage you ladies on this afternoon, this morning, this night, this evening, whatever time that you were tuning in and listening to this, sis, understand and know that there are men out here with vision. And it took me some time to understand that, because I've always been starting at a young age, 13. I've always been a woman with purpose. I've always been a young lady with vision and ideas and so many different things that the Lord has given me. But I was looking for that, and I didn't really establish my foundation clearly. So as I was looking and seeking, a man of God, a man with vision, when the man of vision came along, I was like, wow. Then you'll really see, your eyes will be open. When God sends a man, a true man of God, a true man after his heart, a man that, is rooted and grounded in the word of God, or rooted and grounded in his purpose and the vision, and leading by God's design. Of course, I'm going to say that again, leading by God's design, because so many men can say they're leaders, or they're in leadership, or they want to lead you. But where are you leading from? Are you leading from being led by God? Are you leading from the word of God? Are you leading from specifically from God's voice, from God's leading, from him leading your marriage, him leading your family, him leading your life? And these are some questions that you need to ask yourself, sis, as you are stepping into dating to marriage. Because at this big age, I'm not going to say at this big age because I'm not old, but I'm 34. But in your 30s, sis, you don't want to play games anymore. You don't want to be back and forth. You don't want to deal with, wondering, thinking, hoping. You want assurance. You want security. You want sureness. You want to see this thing built out. You want to understand and know that, this man that you are courting with to marriage, that this is someone that I can build with. This is someone that I can make a life with. This is someone that's truly being led by God and whose steps are ordered by God. This is truly a man with vision. This is truly a man with purpose. You have to get to that point of knowing. And you have to know that you know that you know. We're at an age where if you're in your 30s, sis, and you're listening to me, you don't want to play games no more. You just like, hey, if you're my husband, the Lord told me you're my husband. We're building this thing. We're courting until marriage. We're going to do this thing right. We're going to be led by God. I'm going to support you. I'm going to bring what I have to the table, whatever God has given me, to help you build this thing out on the foundation of God. And we're going to get this thing done for the glory of God. Then, hey, that's where we're at. And even if you're in your 20s or younger listening to me, sis, tap in. Understand that if you desire to be married, what are you bringing to the table? but also what is the man that you desire to be a part of your life for a lifetime? What is he bringing to a table? Is he a man with vision? Is he a man with purpose? Is he a man being led by God as he leads you? These are the important questions that you need to know before you jump into marriage. So many of us start off young, teens, 20s, want to be married early, want to be married. They desire to be married. They desire to have a husband. They desire to have the family, the home life. But you get in it and then you're like, okay, where do we go from here? Because you haven't assessed the situation. So I'm here to just speak life into you in this moment. Just speak life into you to tell you, sis, do not give up. It is possible. A godly marriage is possible. A lifetime of marriage is possible. A strong foundation on God as far as a marriage is possible. I'm 11 years in with my husband. It's possible. It's possible to marry a man with purpose, with vision. It's possible to be the woman to have the capacity to support him, to pour into him, to speak life into him, to build this foundation and something that can stand on it for decades, for a legacy of time, not just for a small amount of time or because you want to get something out of it or you want to be in something just to have it, but this is going to take you some work. I'm being honest with you. It's going to take some work. It's going to take some prayer. It's going to take some fasting. It's going to take some reading of the word of God. It's going to take some submission. That word, us women, we don't like it, but it's going to take some submission, sis. It's going to take some submission to God first, so that you can know that you know how to be submissive to your husband, that you know that he's truly being led by God as he's making decisions in your life, as he's the covering of your life, as he's leading you, your family, as you're building this life together. Just know that God is there with you every step of the way. He's there with you from the beginning, from the courtship to the dating phase to the marriage. He's there with you through the process. Listen to the voice of God. Listen to the leading of God as you are choosing your husband. Listen to the leading of God. Listen to his word. Listen to his scriptures. Meditate on the word of God. Understand what it means, what God desires for you, who God desires you to be married to, because it's gonna play out in your life. Who you marry is so important. And we live in a world where people are just marrying and then just divorcing like it's left and right, like it's nothing. They're changing marriages like it's clothing, and it's something that's sacred. So when you do it once, you want to do it one time and get it right the first time. And I'm not saying it's wrong to if sometimes, maybe death could happen and you have to get remarried, however the Lord does things in your life. But all I'm saying is that it's important to do it right. Do it right. God's desire is for you to be led in the path of righteousness. If that man that you are seeking to marry is not being led by God, is not seeking the path of righteousness, is not leading you down the path of righteousness, is not leading your soul to the word of God, to heaven, then you need to examine some things, sis. I love you. Be blessed and tune in next time. Bye-bye.